the valedictory keynote delivered by Pujya Srimad Swami Mahamedhanandaji Maharaj, and he is going to talk to us about actionizing Vivekananda ideals through a very interesting concept called Viveka Smaraka. Viveka Smaraka is representative of the memorial of the visit of Swami Vivekananda to the city of Mysuru. Okay, and importantly, Swami Vivekananda came here to Mysuru and stayed here in a place nearby. And Ramakrishna Ashrama here is developing that into a complex for the development of youth, self-development for youth. The point is not to talk about the building. That's not what he's going to talk about. He said, I'm not going to talk about the building. I'm going to talk about what programs and projects we will undertake on how the youth will be able to go through these programs and become better human beings, like how Swami Vivekananda envisaged. So, Pujya Swamiji, the stage is all yours. Thank
you. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Offering my pranams at the lotus feet of Sri Ramakrishna, Ma Sharada, Swami Vivekananda and Amma, I will share some thoughts with you, which is the concluding session and the last talk of this concluding session. How are we planning to actionize Swami Vivekananda's ideas and message for the youth at the upcoming Swami Vivekananda Cultural Youth Center, Viveka Smaraka? Let me begin with the story at its beginning. Swami Vivekananda, as you probably know, went across India for over 3 years as a parivrajaka. He wanted to see India firsthand. His guru gave him a message, a command, but he had no clarity how he should go about it. So he wanted to see India personally, firsthand, not through books. For 3 years, he traveled across India. For some days, he was the guest of the kings, and sometimes he was the guest of a cobbler, and sometimes he would sleep in the forest. When he came to Bangalore, he met the then Diwan of Mysuru state, Sir Sheshadri Iyer, K. Sheshadri Iyer. The Diwan was immediately impressed by Swamiji's personality, his knowledge, his charisma and his spiritual power, which was literally emanating from him. He invited him to Mysuru, and Swamiji came to Mysuru. This was in November 1892. The Diwan was out of town. He had gone out with the king. So Swamiji came to the Diwan's residence. He was not admitted. A wandering mendicant cannot directly enter into the Diwan's Prime Minister's residence. Behind the Diwan's house was this orphanage for Brahmin boys. Swamiji stayed in that orphanage, Anathalaya for poor Brahmin boys. Then the Diwan returned. Swamiji was his guest. Later, Swamiji was the king's guest too. He had a lot of interactions with the Diwan and the king. Very interesting incidents in those interactions. And later, Swamiji's 150th birth anniversary, 2010, the central government under Manmohan Singh's prime ministership, they decided if any building is left where Swami Vivekananda stayed during his Parivrajak Jeevan, 3 years wandering across India, if there is any building still intact, still standing, it should be preserved as a memorial, as a source of inspiration to the youth of India. As you know, National Youth Day is celebrated on January 12th, which is Swami Vivekananda's birthday. From 1985, India is celebrating Swami Vivekananda's birthday as the National Youth Day. The Mysore City Corporation woke up. They said, of course, Swami Vivekananda had stayed here. Let us now rehabilitate this whole place and reconstruct that building. Small tiled building, which was in total disarray. Only the walls were left, doors and windows were gone. A few tiles were still present there. The Mysuru City Corporation spent 25 lakhs and renovated this building. And this is just behind Marimalappa School. If you have seen Marimalappa School, just behind the Marimalappa School, this plot is there. And after renovating it, the government, Karnataka government, they asked Ramakrishna Ashrama Mysuru, if you are willing to take it, we will give it to you. You can maintain it as a memorial for Swami Vivekananda. Because you are started by Vivekananda and you are running on it. It is the organization he has started, we can give it to you. So the government gifted it to us, that building and the small plot. But as you can understand, a building cannot inspire much. And Swami Vivekananda used to say, I am a voice without form. So we requested the government, there is an adjoining plot where an old school is running in a very bad shape. You give us that land, we will construct one Swami Vivekananda Cultural Youth Center. And we will try to spread Swami Vivekananda's message among the youth. And it is ideas which build character, not any building. The government accepted and they gave us that land. And there now is coming up Swami Vivekananda Cultural Youth Center. Also added to that is Viveka Smaraka, the building where Swamiji stayed proper. It is a small building, tiled building. It will be preserved as it is because now it is recorded as a National Heritage Site. Adjacent to that is this 36 crore project which is coming up. We have come to the first floor. It will be basement, ground and ground floor plus 3 floors more. Now coming back to Swamiji's interaction with the Maharaja, Sri Chamarajendra Vadayar. Towards the end of those Swamiji's stay in Mysuru, the king asked Swami Vivekananda, Swamiji, what can I do for you? What can I do for you? Swamiji did not directly reply. He started talking about what he had seen in India. He pointed out to the king, the treasure of India is its philosophy and its spirituality. But the present condition of India is pathetic. The downgraded condition of India, he gave a clear description of what he had seen traveling across India from Calcutta to the Himalayas and now down to the south, Mysuru. The common masses are trodden. People are bereft of Shraddha, faith in anything. They are slavish. They are selfish. They are petty-minded. They are superstitious. This is what I see in India as I travel across the whole length and breadth of India. But we have the treasure, the greatest treasure mankind has discovered, our philosophy and more than that, our spirituality, realization. A point was made in that religion is not simply dogmas and theories. Swami Vivekananda would repeatedly point out, religion is realization. Religion is realization. It is not simply talking and discussing things. It is anubhuti. Now we have this treasure with us, but still, as a society, we have fallen so much, and our common masses and even the general middle class public, everyone is at a very low level, at a fundamental basic animal level existence. Then Swamiji, in writings we find this. There are so many reasons why India fell down. Some will say we had so many invasions happening, they killed all our knowledge systems, they destroyed our society. So continuous invasions brought us down like this. Swamiji says, I have discovered 2 reasons why India has fallen. The first reason is, you say you worship the mother, you worship God as the divine mother, but you people, you ill-treat your women at home. This is the first reason India has fallen. You ill-treat women at home, and that is the reason India has fallen. Second reason, you have the grandest Vedantic truths discovered by your ancestors, which says every human being is a spark of the same divinity. And yet, you have trodden on the necks of the common masses. In the name of caste, in the name of power, you have trodden on these poor people and made them your slaves. This is the second reason India has fallen. And Swamiji says, until you correct these 2 mistakes, India will not rise. He wanted this, give back the individuality to the common masses. Give them that feeling that they are also human beings. You have brought them down to the level of animals. Give them that individuality, that makes them think we also can achieve something in life. We are not just born to serve someone. We can manifest our potential. Give them back their dignity, give them back their livelihood. And for this, Swamiji had two methods for doing this. He says there are two ways, two things we need to do this. What is that? Go back to the Upanishads, was Swami Vivekananda's call. So many superstitions. Whether I should take the Achamanam in right hand or 3 times, or how should I ring the bell. This happens in every religion, but in Hinduism we had too much of it. There is a funny way of explaining that. A man was performing the Shraddha ceremony for his father. He had 2 sons with him. They had arranged for the Shraddha ceremony, and when they had kept the offering in front of God, they closed their eyes in meditation, and when they opened it, the pet cat in the house was already eating that offering. So father said, now this can't be offered, bring the offering again, but now catch this fellow, put him in that corner, put a basket over him. The son did that. And after the worship, they removed the basket and gave the cat also its share of prasadam. Next year, when the Shraddha was to be performed, father remembered, catch that fellow, put him in that corner, put that basket over him. They did that. After the puja, they gave him his share of prasad. It went on year after year. Now one day, the father himself passed away. Now his sons had to perform the Shraddha ceremony. They arranged very pious feelings. The whole puja is ready. Everything is ready to begin. Suddenly the elder brother said, my God, we forgot our tradition. Younger brother asked, what is it? Don't you remember? Whenever we did Shraddha ceremony, Papa would ask us to keep the cat there and put a basket. That is our family tradition, sacred tradition. By now the cat also had died. So, Baba ke vaste, for the sake of dear father, the younger brother ran to the market, purchased a new cat and a new basket, brought it, kept it there, and said, our traditions are saved. Every religion has cat and basket. And somehow in Hinduism, cat and basket had become more important than God. In doing all the arrangements, they forget God himself. Swamiji says, what we need is going back to the Upanishads, which is the source of strength. As Maharaj was pointing out in his talk, only one word, the Upanishads give us one word, abhi, fearlessness. Why should I be fearless? Because you are whatever is. You are that consciousness. There is nothing to be afraid of. All the fear comes because of my identification with my body, my mind, and my ego. So he says, go back to the Upanishads, that spring of strength. That is pure Vedanta. Stop all these superstitious things. Mysticism also. He was against mysticism. He says it makes the mind weak. It sometimes makes you feel, oh, maybe I'm not good. Oh, today is not a good day. The cat flew like this, or the black cat went like this. It makes you start believing in all those things. There may be some truth in that. We cannot dismiss many things. But I don't have to be worried about that because I am not just his body, mind, ego. I am this consciousness. Second thing he said, along with this going back to the source of Sanatana Dharma, which is the Upanishads, you have to bring in the Western science. Bring in Western science because the people of India, they have lost all touch with technology. Outdated things are still continuing. So he says, bring back that technology to India. How? Request the Westerners. Ask them to give us their technical skills, their industrial skills, agricultural skills, so that our people who are so poor now, richest country in the world became the poorest country. Richest country in the world became one of the poorest countries. So you cannot go and bring back all that wealth. If we have strength, we can create wealth again. So that kind of manliness should be given to our people. For that, we need 2 things, the Upanishadic truths and the Western science. I'll quote him. He tells his disciple, what we want are Western science coupled with Vedanta, Brahmacharya as the guiding motto, and also Shraddha and faith in oneself. Swamiji saw what we lacked in India was the power to organize. When he was in America, one day he told his host, I faced the greatest temptation of my life here. That senior lady, she was little naughty. So she asked, "Who is that fortunate lady, Swami?" Yes. Then Swamiji laughed and told, "No, no, it is not a lady. I have fallen in love with this power called organization. I have seen how you people organize things here in America. That is exactly what we lack in India. We cannot organize. Three Indians cannot work together for 3 days. There will be jealousies, backbiting, leg pulling." And Swamiji says, this is nothing to be surprised. This is natural for slaves. 1,000 years of slavery has made us bootlickers. And a slave will always try to curry favor with the master. In Bengali, they call it tel deva, oil massage. I have to climb up, massage the higher authority, and make sure the other fellow goes down, you go up. He says this is natural for slaves. And this is not, I don't see this in America. So we have to develop this power called organization. So when he came back to India, he started this Ramakrishna Mutt mission. He knew there will be dangers. He said, if I don't organize, ideas will not spread. If I organize, intensity will go down. But for the good of the masses, let me organize. And that's how he started Ramakrishna Mutt mission. Today we have over 230 centers in India, 67 centers abroad, 1,600 sannyasis and brahmacharis, trying to work out, according to our own capacities, Swamiji's and Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother's message. Today, coming to the modern day, modern India, we have science, we have technology. We are matching the world anywhere. Russia could not send their spacecraft. We landed our spacecraft. Science, technology, we don't have any lack of it. Anyone can acquire and develop his skills in science and technology. What we lack now is Vedanta. Unfortunately, from the day we got independence, the so-called secularism made us think that to talk about values is not secular. How do you talk about values without referring to some personality, referring to some understanding, what we have derived from our ancestors for thousands of years? In the name of secularism, everything is erased. Moral science classes, no. You should teach your religion, you should teach my religion. But Sanatana Dharma is not a religion which says only I am correct, you are all wrong. Sanatana Dharma is that religion which says, Sri Ramakrishna, as he put it, Jotomot Totopot, as many faiths, so many paths. Which the Upanishad says, truth is one, wise people speak of it in different names. And this is the religion which says, I have to go beyond the Vedas. Scriptures are not final for us. Scriptures are only roadmaps. And the roadmap cannot be held as sacrosanct. The roadmap is only to help me to go forward. And that is not everything in itself. It is not an end in itself. The end is me with my realization, my experience. So at this Viveka Smaraka, we propose to have broadly three kinds of training, which we want to impart to the youth. It will be Swami Vivekananda Cultural Youth Center, focusing on the youth. First is the life skills, second, vocational skills, and third, our cultural knowledge, our heritage. Because Swamiji says civilization is only skin deep. It is culture which makes us human beings. As you probably know, we are all human beings, at least to see, but everyone is not a human being. We can live when we function, in fact, at 3 levels. We function at 3 levels. Swami Vivekananda has a definition of man, which I keep sharing with all the students I meet. Man is a compound of animality, humanity, and divinity. Man is a compound of animality, humanity, and divinity. ಮದುವೆ ಜಾತಕ ತೋರಿಸ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಗಣಗಳು ನೋಡ್ತಾರೆ. ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ ಜಾತಕ ನೋಡಿ ಮದುವೆ ಆದವ್ರೆ, ಈಗಿನ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ನೋಡಲ್ಲ. ಅದು ಗಣ ನೋಡಿದ್ದು ರಾಕ್ಷಸ ಗಣ, ಮನುಷ್ಯ ಗಣ, ದೇವಗಣ. So many people in society live at this animal level. Animal level existence means I am led and bound by the body and the senses. And someone who wants to rise to the human level, he continuously struggles against this body and senses which tries to tie him down. And that climbing up can be done only when the mind awakens to higher thoughts, higher ideals, as Sri Ramakrishna says. That's why Swami Vivekananda would insist, have higher thoughts, have higher ideals. And he says, if a man with an ideal makes 1,000 mistakes, I am sure a man without an ideal will make 50,000 mistakes. Therefore, have an ideal in life, Adarsha. Have an ideal. And India says, India has an ideal, as a motto. Can I ask the teachers what it is? What is the motto of India? No. Satyameva Jayate. You have forgotten your social science classes. Yes, I don't blame you for that. Satyameva Jayate. That is an ideal we have as a society. So Swamiji says, have an ideal. Now these life skills which we plan to impart here, which we hope to do, is to train these youth who are studying from high school to college, and also those who have finished their graduation, post-graduation and waiting for an employment, and who have any issues in their personal lives, train them in how to understand their own personality in our traditional framework, how to control their mind, how to develop the power of concentration, and how to have a healthy life with one word, key word, which gives that. I'll not give that word now. Second is vocational skills. We have so many people graduating, but they are not employable. One, they lack in their communication skills, English and Kannada. They also are very poor in working as team members. So these are skills which our traditional, our regular school curriculum, college curriculum doesn't give. We want to intervene there and give them some idea of how you should work, what is it that you should do, what is expected of you at your workplace. And third, cultural knowledge, basic cultural knowledge, like nowadays Rangoli, the decorations we do in front of the house, they paste a sticker, but there is an art in that. The Toranam, the mango leaves, that also is plastic available. So slowly the cultural aspect and so many things which goes into it is all lost. ಕಾಯಿ ಒಬ್ಬಟ್ಟು ಅಂತ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಲ್ವ, ನಾನೊಂದು 20 ವರ್ಷದ ನಂತರ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದು, ಅದು ಅಡುಗೆ ಅಂಗಡಿಲಿ ಸಿಗತ್ತಂತೀಗ. ಅದು ತಾಯಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು ತುಂಬ ಕಷ್ಟಪಟ್ಟು, ಅದು ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಆನಂದ ಇತ್ತು, ಅಂಗಡಿಲೇ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ ಅದು. ಸೊ ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಈಸ್ ಸ್ವಿಗ್ಗಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಝೊಮ್ಯಾಟೊ. ಸೊ ದಿ ಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಈಸ್ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್. ಸೊ ಸಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದೀಸ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ have to be kept alive, because that's what gives us our identity, and there are so many other things involved in every of those activities. Now let me ask you, who is the youngest teacher here, please? Newly appointed last youngest teacher? Yeah, thank you. When you both got your appointment letters, what did you go and tell home? Oh, long things you have told. Thank you. I understand you. You, please. Yes. I got a job, and as you said, it is this thing, I got this. I asked students, why are you studying? If I ask you, why are your students studying? Okay, let me ask you, you don't know why they are studying. Why are you teaching them? Make them learn. Then get knowledge, get confidence, get a job. Make them learn and put it into practice. Okay. All fairly okay, but you know, the one word which I wanted, and one word which is central to this is what you should have told. Let me begin with that. When you get a job, what do you get? Salary. When you get a job, recognition. When you get a job, you get responsibility. When you get a job, you get responsibility. Society says, now you are ready to take responsibility. We are giving you this opportunity to take this responsibility. So the job letter is not just I got a job. Manege hogi helbeko, I got a responsibility today in society. That's what it is. And that's what you are training your students to do. Isn't it so? You are not just standing there and giving some subject theory. You are training the student so that he will acquire mastery in this subject, and tomorrow he will be fit enough to contribute to society. Who is a good citizen? One who contributes, not one who comes and keeps taking things. Only one who can contribute can be called an enlightened citizen. And how will he become an enlightened citizen without knowledge? So you are training the youth to contribute to the future of our society. And in that contribution is their evolution also. So when you get a job, it is not just for salary, it is all secondary. What you get is an opportunity to take responsibility for a very sacred act of igniting fellow minds. They are young minds. That is the greatest opportunity. It is better than sitting in front of a computer. Computer sitting is not challenging. Some virus may come, but you will have some antivirus. But you have to engage with living beings. And first of all, inspire them to be hungry for knowledge. And you should have the capacity to transmit. Have the knowledge first of all, and then the capacity to transmit that knowledge. All that is so challenging, and that keeps you awake. So one word that we want to use here in this Viveka Smaraka is, how do I become a contributor? For my personal life, 3 kinds of growth, you see. We need 3 kinds of growth in our youth, in all our students. Personal growth, social growth, national growth. I have to grow so that I can contribute in these 3 fields. I have to develop my own potentialities. I have to manifest all my potentialities. You know that hierarchy of human needs, Abraham Maslow. So basic human needs, there is no difference between me and an animal. It is only when I come to the level of trust, a sense of belonging, that is also a little better than animal, but that is a human need. But what makes really a big difference between an animal and a human being is this opportunity for self-actualization. An opportunity to manifest my inner potentials and talents. That is a human need. Just as food, sleep, and sex and other things are human need, an opportunity to manifest my potential is a human need. And Abraham Maslow, he has not put that in that book, but later he found out. He says, I have discovered one more thing. He calls it self-transcendence. This is part of our Vedanta. This is rooted in our blood. But when it comes from a foreigner, it becomes very attractive. Self-transcendence. Thinking about the good of others. That is the highest human need. And that's why a very selfish woman, the moment she becomes mother, she becomes divine. Matrudevo Bhava. That feeling, that ability to think only about the good of others, that who else can think other than a teacher? I'll think only the good of my children. But only one person in the society who has one identity called the teacher's identity, only he or she thinks about the good of so many children. They are all my students. Any other parent, businessman, politician, officer, they will think only about the good of their children. A teacher thinks the good of my children and the good of my students. So that is the responsibility of the teacher. So in this institution, we will be training these youth to develop this attitude of contribution, which will help them to grow better as an individual, which will help them to work better in a team and contribute to the country, and always keep in their vision that whatever I am doing is for the good of my society. And my good is in the good of my society. This idea has to be dinned into their minds. For that, we are designing various courses, short-term courses, 2 months, 4 months, 3 months courses, where we will be engaging the students and somehow make them feel, I have to do this for my good, my family, my institution, and my country's good. That, if we can impart that spirit that I have to contribute, it will indirectly but definitely help them to acquire self-restraint, self-control. No point in telling them, don't do this, don't do this. A man was walking towards the west, and someone told him, if you continue to walk, you will enter into darkness. Now he doesn't want darkness. What should he do? He is afraid, but he is walking towards the west, and someone has told him, what should he tell himself? I'm asking you. What should he tell himself? I have chosen to go towards the west. It is darkness. Amma told me you will enter into darkness. What should I tell myself now? No? Simple question. No. Should he tell himself, I don't want West, I don't want darkness? Then what should he tell? No. No, it is only darkness. He is getting into drug abuse, he is getting into relationships, he is getting into so many things which will take him into darkness. The one thing that the person has to tell himself is, I want East, I want light. His subconscious mind will not understand if he keeps telling, I don't want West, I don't want darkness. ಆಗ ಸಬ್ಕಾನ್ಷಿಯಸ್ ಮೈಂಡ್ ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ, ಮುಟ್ಟಾಳ ಅದೇನು ಬೇಕು ಹೇಳು ಅಂತೆ. What I have to tell my mind is, I want East, I want light. Automatically, West will be left behind and I will start walking. The world will help me to discover that East. So this is the way I have to train myself, this is the way we have to train our youth. No point in telling them, don't do this is bad, this is bad. Our endeavor should be to tell them, see, this is so good, see, this is so grand, this will give you power, this will help you to manifest your full potential. You will be a great person in society, really contributing. There is great joy in this. Turn them towards the East by showing them the greatness of East. No point telling them West is bad. The same thing I told. What you are is speaking so loud, I can't hear you. They will tell us when we say don't go towards West, they will tell us the same thing. So here we hope to make this a very positive approach, giving them what will help them to become better individuals, better participation in our social network, not the internet, among their own relationships. They don't talk with their parents, they don't gel well with their society, with their teachers. Train them to do that, value every relationship, and think about the bigger contribution they can do for our country. In his letter to the Maharaja of Mysuru, written in June 1894 from Chicago, Swami Vivekananda writes, my noble prince, this life is short, the vanities of the world are transient, but they alone live who live for others. The rest are more dead than alive. Living for others is what we call contribution. And Swamiji, I'll conclude with this. He says, whatever may be the challenges that we face as a country, as a society, he has taken up two ideals. And he defines it like this. The national ideals of India are renunciation and service. Intensify her in those channels and the rest will take care of itself. Renunciation and service. Tyag or seva. This is a topic in itself. Tyaga doesn't mean becoming a sannyasi. Tyaga, one understanding can be giving up selfishness. Giving up our pettiness. Because selfishness is at the root of everything. Swami Vivekananda says selfishness is the chief sin. There are religions who talk about other things, but Swamiji says selfishness is the chief sin. And he has another statement, unselfishness is God. So the more unselfish I become, the more my inner divinity manifests and I'll be a better teacher. We will be also engaging with teachers and parents. Parents of adolescent children, they need some counseling how to handle their children. And teachers also sometimes will need some support and guidance on how to engage with their students. So this also will be part of our program. And we will have counseling opportunities. You know, it is very difficult for a middle class, lower middle class boy or girl to go and get a proper counseling from a professional. It's a very costly affair. So we will be creating avenues for that so that any boy and girl can come and have counseling there. And we hope by 2025 this will be functioning. By God's will and Amma's grace. Thank you very much for your patient listening.
Thank you, Maharaj. Please be there on stage. I think your ovation at the end of his speech talks a lot about the fact that you're tuned into what he said and the fact that when he was cutting jokes, you were all giggling. And it also indicates in so many ways that you're tuned in. At the end of this long day, to see this hall 3/4 full the way it was at the start of the day is very satisfying for a lot of us who have done the tapasya to make it happen. Now, it's important that it should be Shravana, Manana, Nidhi, Dhyasana, but we will do a little deviation. We'll have a few minutes of Q&A with Swamiji. Is that okay? I have the mic. I'll come to any one of you who has a question, concise, precise, pointed question to Swamiji. Please raise your hand if you want to ask.
Swamiji,
Please be seated. Please be seated.
in my journey of 60 plus years, my observations, there is a need of two things in this country. One is education, formal, like some of the Western societies have succeeded, like Benjamin Netanyahu is the Prime Minister, who served in the armed forces. And umpteen number of people are heads of governments in the Western world. There is order, there is value for time, there is value-based life. That's my experience. We have missed this in this country. How do we get that? Value for time, value for values. We may have Sanatana Dharma and all that, and you have narrated that. That is one. The second question is, how do we deal with deep-rooted corruption which has got into our genes? In every nook and corner of this society, there is corruption of mind, body, spirit. It is disgusting. We have to find a way out of these two things, getting the people to serve the country. Number two, rid of this corruption in the society. That's the only way out. Yeah. If you have any thought on that.
Yeah. See, how as a country as a whole we can do that, that will be too big a discussion for now. What we can do as an institution here in Amrita University, as we try to do in our Ramakrishna Math mission, when we have a program, we begin dot on time. We don't wait for the minister also. I give an example. It was in West Bengal. The Trinamool government had just come to power. The second most important minister was invited. 10 o'clock is the inauguration. 9 o'clock we inquired and we knew he has not even left home. And ours is Howrah. From Calcutta it takes 40 minutes. 9:30 they said he's coming. 9:45, yeah, he will come. 10 o'clock we started the program. And his chamchas had come. And when they saw the program started, the message went to him and he didn't come. There is a message to the politicians that you have to value people's time. You are a public servant. But politicians take it for granted that they will wait for us anyway. We wait for that because we want something from them. We have an expectation. And some things should be sacrosanct. In a relationship or in any such thing, there should be a difference between opinion and principles. We should know the difference. One of Swami Vivekananda's brother disciples, Swami Turiyananji, he used to say this often. In matters of principle, be firm like a rock. In matters of opinion, flow with the tide. In matters of principle, be firm like a rock. In matters of opinion, flow with the tide. Sticking to time, valuing commitment, holding on to a commitment. These are principles, it cannot be compromised. If an education institution, like our institution here, if teacher comes to the class just 1 minute before time, students will notice that, they will come. If a program is scheduled at 10, it should begin at 10. Everyone struggles to make it begin at 10. It will begin at 10. But are teachers so particular about their time? If you are not particular about time, your students will not learn it. So what we can do here in our education institution is make sure everything goes to time. That's one way we can do. As a country as a whole, it is very difficult to define how to do that. Second, corruption. Corruption because we are still somehow, majority of our countrymen, we are at the animal level. When we are at the animal level, it is selfish life. Instinct-driven life, it is a selfish life. And selfishness breeds greed. And greed leads to corruption. So the root of corruption is greed. The root of greed is selfishness. That's why Swami Vivekananda says selfishness is the chief sin. How do I help them to come out of this? Give them this thought, give them this idea, and motivate them to contribute something. The more they think of contributing, selfishness comes down. Like Swachha Bharat Abhiyan we had, the Prime Minister had a very good thought. So many people, they joined in cleaning the streets. In Mangalore, we have our center, Ramakrishna Ashrama Mangalore. Over 7,000 volunteers from all sections of the city. And the Mangalore Ashrama got the Rajyotsava award for cleaning the city. And it was not only our ashrama, it was a small ashrama. The whole city participated, everyone took pride in contributing. So an institution, a family, beginning from a family, if we can train our children, if we can train our students, you have to contribute. On birthdays, many parents do that. They take them to an orphanage and tell them, you have to share now. It is not only about buying a good dress for you and cutting a big cake, and more horrible is smearing it on your friend's face. It is about giving, sharing with others. This idea to share, to contribute, if we can develop that, because now we are talking about teachers and institution, here it should come. What can I contribute? And we should recognize any contribution, small contribution made by the students. It can be maybe the boy has cleaned the board or the girl has picked up a paper and thrown into the dustbin. We should recognize that. I had proposed when I was editor of this magazine, Vedanta Kesari, one big school. It has 14 sections in each class. I told, every month I'll give you 2 issues to be given to a boy and girl, and it should be called character recognition subscription. Character recognition subscription. The class teacher had to do only this. If the boy or girl has done something, some smallest thing, he helped a student or she corrected the bench arrangement, the teacher noticed it and she says, I saw that and I'm very happy you did that. So this is even subscription for you in recognition of your character. These are called positive strokes in psychology. So a positive stroke from a teacher like this will help the student to repeat that behavior, and soon it will become part of its character. Because character is nothing but a bundle of habits, habit is nothing but behavior, repeated behavior. So we can try doing that in these institutions. I hope I have answered in some way.
Namaste, Swamiji. I asked my question in Kannada.
Kedima.
ಭಾರತದ ವಿಶ್ವಗುರು ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಥವಾ ಆಕೆ ಆಗೋದಕ್ಕೆ ವಿವೇಕಾನಂದ ಅವರು ಘೋಷಣೆ ಆಗಿದ್ರು. ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಭಾರತ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದು ಸೂಪರ್ ಪವರ್ ಆಗೋದು ಅಥವಾ ವಿಶ್ವಗುರು ಆಗೋದು ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಇದನ್ನ ನೀವು ಹೇಳಬಹುದು.
ಈ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗೆ ಉತ್ತರಮ ಹಿಂಗಾರ ಕೊಡ್ಬೋದು, ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅನ್ಬೋದು. ನಾನು ಬೇರೆ ಧರ್ಮದವ್ರು ಅಂತಾರೆ ಆಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಉತ್ತರ ಕೊಡೋದು ಕಷ್ಟ. ಏಕೆಂದರೆ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆಯಲ್ಲೋ ಎಷ್ಟು 100 ಚಿಲ್ಲರೆ ಕೋಟಿ. ನಮಗೆ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗೋದು ಯಾರ ಮೂಲಕ? ಮಾಧ್ಯಮದ ಮೂಲಕ. ಈ ಮಾಧ್ಯಮ ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? ಮಾಧ್ಯಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಕತೆ ಇದೆ. ನಾಯಿ ಮನುಷ್ಯನ ಕಚ್ಚಿದ್ರೆ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಲ್ವಂತೆ, ಮನುಷ್ಯ ನಾಯಿನ ಕಚ್ಚೋದು ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಂತೆ. ಮಾಧ್ಯಮ ಕಲಿತಾಗ ಅದೇ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡೋದು. ಸೊ ನಮ್ಮ ಮಾಧ್ಯಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೋದೆಲ್ಲ ಅದೇ. ಯಾರ ಜೊತೆ ಹಾಳು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ ಅದು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಉದ್ಧಾರ ಆಗ್ತಾಯಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ಲಾದರೂ ಇದೆಯಾ? ತೆಗೆದಾದರೆ ಯಾರೋ ಬಿಳಿ ಬಟ್ಟೆ ಹಾಕ್ಕೊಂಡಿರೋ ಕಳ್ಳನಿಂದ ಹಿಡಿದು, ಬಟ್ಟೆ ಹಾಕ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದೇ ಇರೋವಂಥ ನಟ ನೋಡಬಾರ್ದಿಂದ ಹಿಡಿದು ಅವ್ರದ್ದೇ ಬರ್ತಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಆಗ್ತಿರೋ ಸುದ್ದಿ ಏನಾರ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಇಲ್ಲ. ಹೆಂಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗೋದು ವಿಶ್ವಗುರು ಆಗ್ತಿದೆಯಾ ಇಲ್ವ ಅಂತ? ಆಗ್ತಿದೆಯಾ ಅನ್ನಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇಕಾದರೆ ನಾನು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಬೇಕು. ಅದು ವಿಶ್ವಗುರು ಆಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನೇನು ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ? ನಾನು ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ದೀನ? ನಾನು ಏನಾದರೂ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಆದರೂ ಕಾಣಿಕೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನ? ಆ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೇಳೋಣ. ಈ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಬೇಡ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಎಸ್.
Namah Shivaya Swamiji. My name is Deepa Narayanan. I happen to be a soft skills faculty here. And I heard that Vivekananda, Ramakrishna Ashrama is taking a lot of initiatives in bringing up life skills for students, which happens to be a very, very ardent part, and it also happens to be a very important part of NEP, sir. So when we have life skills at our institution level, we are focusing at very small levels of attitude building, talking about the team building, collaboration and other things. And there were very important points when you told about the cake smearing of the face and students throwing dirt, because I've practically seen that in my class. And when I have really taken some sort of measures, but when I have gone to the students, I really don't see any sort of change there, sir. Swami. So here I have tried to do it 2-3 times, but still maybe I'm not able to sensitize the students in the proper way. At a time I myself get a sort of thing, how much shall I tell the students to be sensitized in the proper life skills? So what should be the level of how we take the proper way of sensitizing the student that this is very important, and how can we collaborate with Ramakrishna Mission to inculcate more of life skill values in your perspective, because we are doing it at a very small perspective now. we would also like to inculcate the right perspective which you have taken so that we can really bring the goodness in the students in the right way and make them career successful. And as you told, a responsible, career-oriented student tomorrow, Swami.
Yeah. Now about learning from Ramakrishna Mission, it will be like taking water to the river. Amma is here, you don't need anything more. Only you will have to work it out. Certainly we can share what we have. Now about the cake smearing part, you may tell them next another birthday they will do the same thing. So what I would suggest is, please experiment this. Take your students, let them buy cakes, go to some slum, go to a village nearby, and let them distribute those cakes to those orphanage or poor children. Let them see the joy on the faces of those children in eating the cake. How much joy one small piece of cake can give these children. Let them experience the joy of sharing it and the joy of seeing that children enjoying that cake. Next time when they want to waste it, I am sure they will think, a child would have been so happy, why waste this? Unless we tell them there is a better way to do that. It is exactly what I meant when I said, no point telling them, don't go towards the east. Don't waste the cake, don't waste the cake. Instead, tell them how best to share the cake and how to have more joy eating and sharing both. Something like this which makes them feel. That's why Swami Vivekananda said, someone referred to it, feel first, my would-be patriots, he says. First is to touch the heart. If you learn to feel, then the head and hand will follow it. So let them first learn to feel. For those who don't have the opportunity or who cannot afford these cakes, there are so many who cannot afford cakes, small children, orphanage or even in village. Let these boys and girls go there and share the cakes. And better still, you teach them how to prepare cake. I am sure that also will prevent them from wasting it. When they prepare a cake for half an hour, they will not be that joyful in wasting it. They'll say, let me eat it first. You want to waste it, buy from the shop with full of chemicals. So let them prepare cakes, let them go to some orphanage nearby. We are not a very big city. And let them have the joy of sharing it. Soon, I am sure they will learn that it is something not to be wasted. Yes. Yeah. Thank you very much. Ramakrishna.